Hey, want to welcome you to Impatient Creations. We are a custom car, truck, motorcycle builder. We also do a lot of plane restorations, and we do a lot of other repairs. In fact, over half the vehicles you see here are from other shops. So what they couldn't fix, we do fix. And sometimes it's just putting windows in and getting them so they line up. But other things are the mechanical systems don't function well, and so we do things like that. We'll look as we go through and talk about them a little bit at a time. We do work on about 40 at a time. You got 20-something techs, so we're working on half, and the other half are waiting on parts. So it's a lot of things going on. There's probably a lot of shops out there that have 40 vehicles under construction, but very, very few of them deliver 3 to 5 every week. And that's what holds us apart, is we have a focus and we spend a lot of attention on getting deliveries. Now, not all of them are total builds, but we have some builds that are just crazy. So we'll talk about those briefly as we go through as well. But come on with me and let's take a look at what we're building. When you come in the front door, we go through a hall of photographs that we have taken over the past few years. You can imagine delivering 3 to 5 a week. This is just a few percentage points of what we built. This is where a lot of the decisions are made as we do build cars. We get in here with Mark, our foreman, and he is not only a master builder, but he's just a very, very talented guy. We also make a lot of decisions in here on what we're going to do, which parts we're going to buy, and things like that. First thing I want to show you is when we get into painting a vehicle. One of the first things we've got to do is take the vehicle apart and see what we have and what we don't have. As you can imagine, most of these old 50s and 60s and 70s cars have got rust in them. And this is one of the big elements of our builds, is getting rid of the rust. When we get into it, we have to build things, and we work with the owners and we build something that's specific to their how they're going to use their vehicle. It's very, very important. We do strange kind of handles. We put motors in places, and it's interesting that to try and get a steering system for wheels that are behind you. Also, how do you get air conditioning in a system, in a vehicle that doesn't have room for it? So we have engineered and laid out how the air is going to flow. We've got a builder, fabricator of radiators that help us build things that are a little unusual and a little strange. And I can say that with all confidence, this is a vehicle that we are taking. The owner wanted a '69 Camaro on the outside, but everything on the inside he wanted new. So we bought a fairly new vehicle, and we're taking all of the interior and all of the driveline out of the new Camaro and installing it in a '69 Camaro. So when you open the door to this car, it will be, you know, a 2012, 15, whatever the car is that we built it out of. So we do that. We construct the floor pans and the seat braces, everything, so that we can get a functioning car for the owner. You're now in our fabrication area, which, as you would expect, we're building steel panels for cars. One of the things that we try to do is try to do something that is out of the ordinary. And if we were, you know, we look at cars all the time, we glean ideas. One of the things when you get into the 55, 6, and 7 Chevrolet is when you open the hood, what you see is a core support here with a radiator. We've done everything from chroming to high polish to all kinds of things. We don't know what to do with that radiator and the core support, and normally you don't. I mean, a radiator's a radiator, and you got to have one, and we certainly do. But what we're putting in this car is a big block, 540 or so cubic inches with twin superchargers, not twin turbos, but twin superchargers, and they will they will snorkel out their scroll type compressors. They'll come out through the inner fender, they'll come around, they'll come back up through here. Our radiator is going to be from here down, so when you raise the hood, you're going to see something that you've never seen. Is everything is below the grill. Everything is not higher than the grill. So automatically you will see 2/3 of the motor that you've never seen before. So when we raise the hood, it's going to be an interesting look. You know it is, because you got to go find out what that is and how they're cooling it. And when you take 1,000 horsepower and then you cool it and it never gets above the grill, you have got something. And so that's one of the things that we're going to display. We work with Roadster Shop, and they help us build, or they build for us, chassis. This particular one is going to have a 20-inch wide tire. So as you can imagine, we've got to do a lot of sheet metal fabrication to get it. So the outside of the car is going to look like a 55 Bel Air Post car, and when you raise the hood, it's going to have 1,000 horsepower, and when you look at the back, you're going to know it's for business. It will also have a complete integrated, not just a roll cage, but it'll be integrated into the sheet metal panels. And what's also exciting is that in about 4 months, this thing will be rolling out, and we'll be going to a show. So we know how to get after it and get things built. So that's one of the things that we bring to a build and to an owner, is we can get on it and get it produced and get it out. Come this way and we'll look at some of the dirty parts. Our shop is completely a working showroom. So we do, we can't look in there, that's a secret car. We do have some of those too. These are ladies waiting for us to start building, and we've got a number of them in the works. We do a lot of stripping out here. We it used to be baking soda blasting. We now do what we call dustless, which is with glass bead and water. And so we do that stripping right here. When it's a frame or something like that, then we do blast it with sand. We're preparing now a 55 International Harvester, and we have taken all the paint off of it. We put a rust protectant on it that it's not a protectant, it's a phosphate that it will turn the rust into a black element like you're seeing, and we will sand that down and put heavy epoxy on it like is on this Cadillac here. We disassembled this a few weeks ago, and really a nice car, 68 convertible, Series 62, and we are solving the rust in it. We find pieces like this, and we found parts of the quarter and parts of the doors that, you know, back in the days, we would put a stud gun in and pull it out. I mean, a stud, and then we would pull it out. Today we use stud guns, so it's a lot better. But we have to go back and do all of these because we weld up everything. We don't Bondo it up. We weld it up. So you can see how we weld it, and when we get finished, it's ready for heavy primer, and away we go. As this is part of that international, and you can see a lot of it is rusted away. And what our responsibility is to blast it down. We'll get with the owner and see what he wants to fix, if anything, and then we're going to assemble it together just in raw primer. So it's his project, and we're all about that. That's one of those 3 to 5 we'll be delivering here in a couple of weeks. This is a 67 GTO that we are preparing for a client, and it'll be painted next week. We move this way. We go from the body shop to the paint shop, and then the paint, we've got a booth that we can put a 45-foot motor coach in and close the doors and paint it. And we use Axalta paint today. We've used several different ones. You notice that this one here this is a 69 GTO, if those that know the body lines. And what we did is we jammed it out, and we'll show you the body in just a few minutes. But if we're going to do the entire build on a car where we're doing the electrical and the mechanical and the interior and all of that, then we stop the process right in the middle and don't put the doors and the fenders, don't paint the outside of it. We stop that process, and then we build the car electrically and mechanically. We get out and we're able to smoke the tires, if you will, get it running and driving. Then we bring it back and we assemble the car and finish the paint work. So we've tried several different processes, and for the good sound show car, we found that to be probably the most straightforward. We do a lot of repairs. This is one that had some damage, and it's an El Camino. Very, very nice car, and it was built from another shop, and what we're doing is making some repairs and getting it back to the client. So this is, like I said, over half the cars we have come from other shops. So sometimes the owner gets a little impatient. That's how we get impatient. When the cars come out of the shops, when the cars come out of the booth, then they come down this way and we are doing some assembly work. This one is not painted. This is one of those vehicles that came from another shop. We finished completing the engine, the drive line, put fuel injection on it, changed out the radiator, some other things that needed to be done to it to get it to handle and stop and go. We're just about finished. He wants to leave the paint alone just like it is, and we're fine with that. So we're going to polish it out a little bit. We got a little bit more driving to do, and then it'll go back. We just completed this 911 for a client. He came by and examined it and is happy with it, so we're going to deliver that next Tuesday. We have a 912 that he also owns, and we're just about to complete it. We got it back to the original color, and so we're making those repairs, some of them electrical and mechanical. This is that Gto Judge I was telling you about. And so what we're doing is get the motor's not here. It's being built by Dick Miller Racing, and he's got a hold up on some parts, so it may be a month or so before we even get the motor. We already have the transmission. He's got a 5-speed manual, and we're going to get the electrical. The instruments and everything are already here. And when we get enough parts together and the motor and transmission, then we'll begin the assembly. We will go ahead and engineer the cooling system and get it built while the motor's coming. This is a 79 Trans Am that is under construction, and just right now it's in the assembly. Again, you can see that we just painted certain things on it, and now the motor's sitting in it. We're doing the brakes. He's decided he wanted to do air conditioning, and now we're putting the air conditioning compressor and all of the plumbing on it. Little Firebird is in for a transmission leak. We're getting that repaired. This one is going to be delivered in about 2 weeks. This one we've got to finish up some interior on it, and the owner wants to do some of this. This is the third car that we've done for him. This is a wrap car. All of his cars are 68s. This is a Charger. There's a 68 Mustang, a fastback Mustang, and a 68 Camaro Rally Sport. So we'll see those as we go through. This Camaro here is a few weeks ahead of that GTO I was telling you about, and you can see we have not painted the car all over. We did the jambs and the firewalls, and now what we're getting ready to do is to do the wiring. You can see the old wiring that we removed, and so we put the mechanical together, the engine's in it. It's a lot of this is furnished by the owner. We're bolting on the parts that he wanted. So it is and he came by and heard his motor for the first time. So that was an exciting time for him. Little Mustang, little VW. And this thing sounds like a Mustang. It's really a neat little hot rod. It's a 79, obviously convertible. It's fuel injected. It's got a pretty good cam to it, and it is air conditioned on top of that. Just really a neat car. This came into us white. He wanted a black with red interior. That's no problem. He's owned the car for many years, so this has been a dream of his, and he's got it. We're going to have another VW here shortly. We had the privilege of doing a 65 Buick Grand Sport, original owner, which there obviously aren't many of those guys around. And we are having to build some pieces because this year is a one-off year. Things like the hood ornament. It only came on a Grand Sport in 1965. So we have secured one. We have figured out what we're going to do today. Actually, the owner came by, and we're going to custom build him the vents that are supposed to be along here. We have a piece of one, an original one, and we're going to make them billet. We'll put them on there, and they'll look just like they did from the factory. So that's the last piece he needs. These are the other two wrap cars. The owner, great American, great patriot. In fact, he teaches military helicopter pilots, and so he's kind of an aggressive guy, if you can picture that. But when you get these three cars together in a display, they have the American flag. I mean, they are the American flag waving. This is a 71 Mustang Convertible. The owner brought us two Mustangs. One was an 06 Shelby, and he says, I want everything out of this 06 Shelby in the 71 Mustang. Can you do it? Well, we've never done it before, but I'm pretty sure we can do it. When you take, and he says, and I want about 500 horsepower. And the 4.6 in 06 didn't quite have 500 horsepower. So we put a Roush blower on it, and we are getting a little over 500 horsepower to the rear wheels. He wanted certain things up underneath the hood. And what we did was build or paint, do the artwork for the different aircraft that he wanted under the hood. All of the panels that we build here, all the panels that you see, we build here. The CNC for the tanks, things like that, are all Impatient Creations. because of the horsepower and because of it being a convertible, we engineered and had built for us a chassis that is goes completely underneath the Mustang. So this Mustang is a full chassis car. You can take a peek up underneath there and see how the exhaust comes out. Really a dynamic sound. You can see the size of wheels and tires on the back. We actually got the seats to fit. We had to custom build the cushions, as you can imagine, to get that wheel to tuck up in that rear seat panel there. But that is everything out of an 06 Shelby, including the signature on the dash, all of the body control modules, everything works. The only thing that we did not move over was we did the air conditioning. The air conditioning is just like in an 06. You can plug it in, but there was something we didn't move, and I can't remember what it is right now. But this car's a couple of weeks, we got to do some more testing and tuning on it, but it's just about ready to deliver. Oh, by the way, all of our stripes are buried. So that means the stripe has to be done when the car is assembled. And moving on up to the annex, we affectionately call it our annex, and that's where we do most of our mechanical and electrical. And some of our electrical that we're getting involved in, trying to be ahead of the curve a little bit, is the electronics in a vehicle. And today we know the complexity of it and the kind of minds it takes to even repair and diagnose it. We're trying to figure out what a hot rod would look like in a couple of years. And so with that in mind, we are building our own systems here with our own CAN bus. This is the computer that'll actually go in the car. It increases the speed, and so what we do is we're building, and all these computers here do something to everything from turning on the headlights to parking lights and turn signals and all of that. We've got a car that we are building very unique, very specific. That 55 Chevy, this is what the transmission shifter will look like. There'll be no shifter in the floor. So he'll be able to select what gear he wants, and then he'll paddle shift whatever gear he wants to be in. So we're going to use some of this technology in there. We just gotta, we're not, we've got a couple months to figure that out, and we'll come up with something really cool. So we'll see what that looks like. You can see us at the Tri-5 Nationals. We're anticipating being there, that they're not, we're into this coronavirus, so we're not sure where, what time and all of that. So, but we're continuing on. These are some of the cars that are in our mechanical electrical. We're just about to finish up this Trans Am here. This is a sister Trans Am. This one is Bert. He has one both of them are 77s. One